supposed to have occurred during a bank robbery.
You are a problem. I would address.
So here's the thing. What are we talking about, right? Well, we're talking about Fannie Willis' mother. Who is her mother? And what you brought to me, and I want to share this. So you brought this to my attention. This woman, Sherry Laverne Dalton, is wanted by the FBI. And this is supposedly, allegedly, Fannie Willis' mother. Now, the charges is violation of RICO statute, interference with interstate commerce by robbery, obstruction of justice, armed bank robbery, killings, aiding and abetting.
I think it's 3 homicides that are supposed to have occurred during a bank robbery.
Right. So apparently, this person
or bank robberies.
This person used 2 date of births, 1950, 1952, a whole bunch of alias. They're saying that the FBI is offering a reward up to $100,000 for information from Sherry Laverne Dalton. Dalton is believed to be living in Cuba. She has ties to Havana, Cuba, St. Croix, Virgin Islands. Sherry Laverne Dalton is wanted for her alleged involvement in the Brinks armored car robbery, which occurred October 21st, 1981 in Nantucket, New York. The robbery resulted in a loss of $1.6 million. The 2 police officers and 1 security guard were killed. 1 police officer and 2 guards were wounded. On November 17, 1982, a federal grand jury operating in the Southern District of New York returned a superseding indictment charging Dalton with violation of RICO statute, interference with interstate commerce by robbery, obstruction of justice, and armed bank robbery, killings, and aiding and abetting. Should be considered armed and dangerous, right? So this all took place in the 80s. Now, they're saying, your sources, Elliot Pink is saying, this is Fannie Willis' alleged mom. Born in 1950-52, Fannie Willis was born in 1972. Judge, you want to come in and say something about this? Because you knew her father.
I knew her too.
The mother.
Yes.
That woman who I
don't know if it's the one and the same. Last I saw that woman, she was in her early 20s, and that would be somewhere around 1972, 73. 70, 71, 72, 73. Her father was active. Yes, this picture here, that's when she's purportedly pregnant. I know John. We went to school together out in the LA area. We were in Black Student Alliance on and off for about 6, maybe 8 years total. Last I talked to him, he had broken up with her. And this was somewhere around 1979, 1980, 81, somewhere in there. So he was no longer with her. That's John Floyd. He testified during the recent proceedings when we were discussing Mr. Wade, Attorney Wade, and his daughter Fannie, or Fannie, whatever. And
well,
it was what it was. So I had not been in touch with this woman here or this lady here in decades at that time. So last I remember seeing her was at some function or hangout or some kind of affair back 1973 or 4, somewhere thereabouts.
Well, it says here Fannie Willis is the offspring of 2 Black Panthers. Her mother, Sherry Laverne Dalton, is an FBI most wanted for robbery and murder. This is why the internet is scrubbed of Fannie Willis with her mother. Here is her mother pregnant with Fanny in 1971, which makes sense
I
because
don't recall, by the way, either one of them being part of the Black Panther Party. I do recall John Floyd being quite active in the Black Student Alliance, and there is an affiliation, an exchange back and forth between Black Panther Party, Black Student Union, various ones, and Black Student Alliance, which was going on in the LA area. That was because of the activities of Ron Karenga and his US organization that was, shall we say, allegedly working with the SIS unit of the Los Angeles Police Department, and they were looked at as everybody's enemy. The Nation of Islam and their FOI were part of this group of community organizations, which included the Panther Party, Black Student Alliance, Black Student Union, the FOI, and other people in various and sundry organizations that were opposed to us because us was sending people in to take shorthand notes of meetings we were having, and as soon as they did that, the FBI would haul everybody in, and there was this counterintelligence thing going on in the late 60s. So by the time 1969, 1970 hit, there were more people who were informants, agents, or officers of these alphabet agencies in the organizations than there were legitimate members. So people were just saying, hey, I don't have any problems with it. I have a problem with that. And what happened is Lyndon Baines Johnson was no longer the president, and a lot of Black people gave up hope because Great White Daddy, friendly Great White Daddy, was no longer in the White House, and there was Tricky Dick Nixon, and he was looked at as an enemy. This was also after we started getting heavy Black exploitation, Black Caesar, Superfly, Foxy Brown, and such like. It was a debilitating campaign on glorifying dysfunction, which has spread until it has become the norm now. And there's another thing, as per most of the hard movements around the world, it was led by the young intelligentsia, meaning the students or those who had decided to get academic on things and learn a lot of stuff out of the books and try it on the ground. And what we had was a resurgence starting about 1971, 72, picked up heavy in 73, where the street gangs started reviving after they'd become essentially dead from 1965, 66 on until about 1971 or 2. There was this 5-year hiatus because people got it out of their system. And there were fathers around, and there was fatherhood, and there was manhood. And then when that started getting pushed to the side with the glorification of dysfunction with this Black exploitation nonsense to generate revenues for Hollywood, which was having trouble with color TV, things started going to hell very quickly. So the students bailed on the radical movement and started saying there's another way of doing it. The radical movements became more street, but dysfunctional street, because a lot of people that had been doing penitentiary time from what was going on in the early mid-60s were getting out, and they were gravitating to organizations, and some of the Black organizations that were for Black betterment became obvious targets. And you got some people that were young teenagers, too young to do anything with it, who were now 18, 19, early 20s, so they had been wannabes. Now these organizations were open, and they got in, and they sort of fell apart. Last point on this is this: in 50 years after the fact, 45 years after the fact, it has become trendy to label anybody who was doing anything and what was termed militancy as a Black Panther. That's not necessarily the case. And the other problem is there was no formal join up process where you said,
Hello?
Hi, is this Doug?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Doug. My name is Don Curtis, and you were out at my house I think Sunday to look on Wrights Mill Circle to look at my dishwasher. It was a Viking dishwasher.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you said that you wouldn't mind if I called you again if we got the error message, and we just got it last night. The E01.
Is that the same one we've been dealing with?
Yes.
Dealing with?
Well, you've only. Yeah, you were here once, but yeah, it's the same error message.
Have you did clean it?
Yeah, we did the bleach and the was the bleach and the bleach and vinegar thing, and it seemed to like do the trick, but we got the error message again last night.
Okay, I would still think that there is something, some of that plastic got to be floating around and covering the sensors. One thing you can do is disconnect the power from the fuse box. Are you familiar how to do that?
I think so.
You want a 15-second shut off, turn it back on, and when you turn it on, do the cleaning again. If it come back, let me know.
Okay, if the error message comes back on, I should call you back?
Yes, please, because we're dealing with something that's covering the sensor. Could be a piece of plastic from your pods, because if there's something major, it just doesn't go away. It stays. If it's the actual sensor, it will stay, will not go away. But if you kill the power for 15 seconds, turn it back on, clean it again, and see what happens, then something's moving around and interfering with the sensor at the base of the dishwasher. If it comes back, let me know and we'll set up an appointment.
Okay, Doug. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem. I'll wait your call. Let me know something. All right.
Take care of yourself.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
Bye-bye.
Yes, sir.
Bunchy Carter and John Higgins were shot and killed.
Huggins. Huggins.
Sorry, Huggins. John Huggins and Bunchy Carter was shot and killed in an altercation
in Campbell Hall, and I was there.
He renounced violence and enrolled at UCLA to study law after two Panthers, Bunchy Carter and John Huggins, were shot and killed in an altercation at a Black student union meeting.
That's true.
What's not true?
In other words, the type of relationship I had with him is we ran into each other most days during the week, typically during a month. Considering the closeness of the Black students at UCLA on campus at this time, and when this happened to John and Bunchy, nobody renounced violence. It was, we are people of peace who can be brave and courageous when necessary. This is a later construct about he renouncing violence to be peaceful after. That's not what the case is. That's like somebody saying that about me. I was a peaceful man, but I did not say I was going to be nonviolent like Dr. King and the peaceful, nonviolent civil rights things. He was part of a group which included yours truly, who contemporaneously and often said, we reject that. So to put that on his shoulders now, 55 years after the fact, is unrealistic, and that's a modern invention. The mother is after he and she broke up.
Right,
that's why he would be raising her.
Pause for a second. So she was pregnant in 71, gave birth in 72. Because Fannie Willis was born in 1972.
I remember when she was born. We all congratulated him.
The mother running with the law
was 10 years later. Personal knowledge, by the time this alleged bank robbery occurred, I had personal conversations with the father, John Floyd, about his breakup with the woman that we are referencing or who might be her. So he was not with her at the time. They had broken up some years before that, which is why he winds up raising Fanny. Now, John was always a stand-up guy. We could always count on him to when something needed to be done, we did it. And we did some things that I'm not going to confess to or mention because the statute of limitations is not run on some of them. All right, so he was there. We opened stuff up. He was part of the group that could be depended upon to do what was necessary to get what was appropriate accomplished. So by 1980, he had broken up with this woman. He was on his own. And when you start talking about this organization, that was a fallout from an organization that developed from this group that kidnapped Patty Hearst.
1971, her mother was pregnant. She gave birth in 1972. The incident that took place is in 81 and 82. They broke up by then. So, again, do we know for sure that this is her mother? No, because we don't have information. She doesn't talk about her mother. There's no other pictures except for the picture that I had displayed with that woman with Fannie Willis' father and the FBI report. So this is alleged that this is her mother wanted by the FBI. But it would make sense for them to scrub all this information off the internet, considering what the daughter, Fannie Willis, has been going throughout 2024.
Okay, all I can say is this, is looking at the picture that they have is somebody that is in their 50s. Now, I have not seen this woman since her early 20s. I knew her father quite well, and what I would offer to is whoever may be involved is a pragmatic matter. He had broken up with her mother by the 1980s. I know they broke up before that because, frankly, I was trying to fix him up with the younger sister of somebody that I had dated.
Before that?
Yeah, they broke up before that. So I know when he contacted me about making the hookup, it was before that. So they had broken up based on the conversations I was having with him. Conversations, plural. At that time, he was still on the West Coast, and I had relocated to Memphis. So we were talking long distance. So that's what I would say.
So in conclusion, this woman who is wanted by the FBI, her name is Cheryl Laverne Dalton, right? We don't know if this is her mother or not, but we don't know who Fannie Willis' mother is. And that's the question that I'm asking. Who is Fannie Willis' mother? Is it this woman? Because her date of birth does line up with the timeline of Fannie Willis' birth, and it would make sense during the time of this arrest in 81 and 82, Fannie Willis was already being raised by her father in California and in DC. So in conclusion, Ellie Pink, want to say anything?
You said no. We just want to know who she is and why her mother has not been being talked about, and if this is allegedly her mother, then why ain't she attacking her own mama instead of going after everybody else?
Right. And
if I might make a comment, since I don't particularly want to get sued, this woman could be her mother. There is a resemblance. However, the picture is somebody in their 50s or early 60s. The last I saw the woman, she looked much like she did in that photograph that you showed with the big afro, with her standing there with Fannie's father, John Floyd, who I knew quite well. there are some stories out there about what their history is, but what I know of them, that would be a later construct. So rather than assume the risk of liability, since that might have some professional repercussions on John, who's still practicing law, I say that with a sense of caution, which is why I mentioned what I did, so that we would distance ourselves from that until there's more conclusive proof about the thing. Now, at the time this woman is alleged to have done these criminal acts, I have cause to have the opinion that John Floyd and the mother that is depicted in this picture we're looking at had broken up sometime before that. Now, John grew up like I did, and at that point in time, the police were not friends of the black community. However, I have said often in other talks that it's a good idea for somebody who wants to be a lawyer to get an internship and a residency in the practice of law. And the best way to do that is to get with the Attorney General's office somewhere, a prosecutor's office, or a public defender's office, or with a government agency who has a legal staff that gives you a lot of practice getting in and out of court. Now, that's just what you do. So that does not bespeak any particular political perspective, and there is this thing you find out that you do need when you have a government for somebody to have responsibility for representing the people and for somebody to do defense work. And if somebody is good, they are able to do both when necessary. So with that said, from my recollection, it could be the woman, but I can't say conclusively because there's about a 40-year gap in ages here. Now, that's all I mentioned the party with. It's just sometimes there is a realistic liability situation. Some people may be in a situation where the type of practice you're doing, the business you're doing, it becomes very onerous to be associated with certain radical organizations. Somebody may or may not have been associated with those organizations, but let them make the claim rather than somebody else. Now, I will say this about John. He was involved in the defense of Nelson Mandela on a national scale. He had been involved with a number of projects involving the United Nations. And he's a good trial lawyer, and I think he's had more than 1,000 or so trials in front of juries or judges, so he knows his way around a courtroom. Now, that said, it is what it is, and the organizations that are being put on somebody in terms of membership, it's not that they don't exist. It's just when you get into the real timeline, they are morphs. In other words, if something is said that this is an organization somebody belonged to in 1982 and that organization became defunct in 1974, then there's a problem.
All right. So listen, the question is, who is Fani Willis' mother? We don't know. I'm not saying, and nobody on this platform is saying that the woman that's wanted by the FBI, Cheryl Dalton, is her mother. Is it a possibility? Anything is possible. But when you do Google Fani Willis bio or Fani Willis parents, it says, what's his name? John Floyd, Mr. Floyd. And the mother name they give is Lillian Willis. Well, Lillian should not have Willis' last name because Willis is the married name of Fani Willis, her ex-husband. So Lillian Willis is not the real name of her mother. Does
right.
Make sense?
In other words, you see it on the net, it's unreliable.
Exactly. So we don't know who her mother is. This information came by, you know, an anonymous person. Is it a reliable source? Yes, but we're not going to say who that person is. And we're just having a discussion and asking the question, who is Fani Willis' mother? Is this her mother? It makes sense that, you know, we never saw a picture, never heard anything about, well, what does her mother do for a living? Why was she raised by her father? The focus is always dad when it's talking about her parents and never mom. So I just find that odd. But if this is her mother and she's wanted by the FBI under RICO, murder, robbery, and all this stuff,
that's just terrible.
May I offer this?
Corruption doesn't probably fall too far from the tree.
May I offer this as an explanation for why that is? Her father, Attorney John Floyd, testified. That was on national television. He is an international figure, so he is known. So it would be automatic that somebody who is a known figure or professional who testifies for a daughter who's in the news to be discussed. The point comes up is, who is President Donald Trump's mother? Who is Joe Biden's mother? Who is Barack Obama's mother? Other than that, it becomes peripheral and has to do with his birth and circumstances of relations to other international and national figures. Who is Martin Luther King's mother? Do we ever talk about that? Who is Al Sharpton's mother? Do we talk about these things? See, who is my mother? Does anybody bring that up? You see, ordinarily, unless there's an independent reason to deal with a parent, you don't discuss the parent because there's no context for it. So that may be why we don't hear anything about Fani Willis's mother, because there's no context for it.
Right. But public figures, when you read their bio, Wikipedia or such, and they have the parents listed, they're going to have the parents' last name as maiden or the father's last name, not the last name of your daughter's ex-husband last name.
That's right. In other words, it's showing the unreliability of the information sources. But if you Google me, you won't find my mother's name. You won't find my father's name either. So it's just like that. If I Googled you, I wouldn't find your parents' name.
You would.
You might?
Yeah.
No, you would.
I would? Okay, well.
I mean, I think that hers become relevant because of if this is or maybe, or the streets say that this is her mother, and with the background that we are dealing with and the corruption that we're dealing with down here, she has her attention so much on RICO's down here, then why that same energy ain't being put towards someone that has the law still being broken.
So, well, I mean, it may be. That's a valid point. The only thing is why don't we hear about Letitia James's mama or Prosecutor Bragg's mama?
Because they're not in the spotlight. They choose to go after the president.
Well, I know, but Bragg went after the president.
And then
James went after it.
My thing of it is because she's so, I'm going after corruption. I'm attacking, corruption. No one's above the law. And every law you're telling us that nobody is above is something that you are directly embedded with it being yourself or being Wade or being your mom or being somebody that is around your own self. So while you're telling us no one is above the law, you are committing the crimes that you're going after people, or allegedly your family is doing the same. So don't tell us about the law when you ain't even helping us, if this is allegedly your mother, helping the law.
Good point, but let's look at a public figure right now, Robert Kennedy Jr. He is the son of Robert Kennedy, who was assassinated. Robert Kennedy Sr. was the son of Joe Kennedy. Joe Kennedy has all kinds of allegations and a lot of history that indicates he was doing something well. He was American ambassador to England at the beginning of World War II. But there's also a lot out there about him being a gangster, running the bootleg racket in Boston, controlling the docks, and running black people off of the job markets. So doing hits and hired killings for Al Capone out of Chicago. These are all allegations against Joe Kennedy, and there's a good case to be made, which is karma. You take a whole lot of life and run a lot of criminalities, and maybe you condemn your family to getting the same kind of things done you were doing for other entities. Look at...
we don't need to look at nothing else. I need to...
No, I'm just saying, look at it in that context of, do we focus on Robert Kennedy Jr. as an entity, or what his grandfather may or may not have been up to?
Well, we can look at both.
Yeah, you can.
Because
political gangbangers.
Political gangbangers, because his privilege came from corruption. He was allotted, and I'm not saying that he is like his grandfather. However, he was allotted a lot of privilege in this society because of the gangster corruption acts of the grandfather. And I'm going to include the grandmother in there too, because you knew what your husband was doing and you helped cover it up or whatever. Just real quick, I'm going to just mention this real quick. During that time, even during the Black Panther, and this is not a conversation to talk about Black Panther, I just want to make this statement, because I am going to do a follow-up video. We'll do a follow-up video about Fannie Willis' father, Mr. Floyd, and the Black Panther Party. So I'll just end it on this. During the Black Panther movement, and even towards the end of it, when we're talking about radical Black people, they were, hijacking planes and taking it to Cuba. One of the most famous of the FBI most wanted, Ashada Shakur, when Joanne Chizamar, when she was involved in a shootout on New Jersey Turnpike with the state troopers. And she was busted out of prison in 1979, fled to Cuba, been living there ever since. So there were a lot of Black badasses, and a lot of people disagree with their ideology, with their purpose, but a lot of them are held as heroes. So again, I don't know if this is her mother. It was brought to our attention. It could be. We don't know for sure, but I think it should be discussed.
Get up.
What you shoplifting at Home Depot for though?
You have anything in your bag? No. Do you have anybody here with your baby?
No, you got your little baby.
Just you? Stay in the car? Call them.
Oh man, we have no idea.
The baby sound like he's sick.
Have a seat. Go, have a seat.
Call them.
Just want me to
pee. No.
want me to hurt you in front of your kid? Call them.
Somebody about finna hurt you.
Calls him.
What up, Ryan?
You get up,
I'm
they
not
need to
getting
get back.
up, ma'am. I'm not getting up. I'm just
So
turning
call them.
around.
No, you're gonna stay like that. Call them.
I'm not moving.
Call them. You're making it worse for you. This was
not,
quick.
ma'am,
This
I
is so
know.
quick.
My dog back here though with a crazy player build right now. Like, bro, how you let yourself get to that point?
You're
You get a copy?
I'm gonna keep Lord. No, I already have a copy. I'm gonna give you some off you too, please. Yeah, that's fine.
Learn about it's okay. You out here stealing with your baby is crazy right now, bro. Don't do that. I've been saying you don't do that shit when you got your kids with you. Matter of fact, when you got kids, bro, you got to think about what you doing, man. You got.
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Hello? Yes.
Yes.
I was waiting for you to call me.
Oh, you was. I was talking to somebody.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. That's my way.
Who?
A customer.
Oh. Okay. I'll call you back. I'll call me later.
I'll call you when I'm done. I gotta call him back now.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Thanks. Always interrupting.
How criminals can operate in California, basically authored and supported by Gavin Newsom, y'all governor, and it basically allowed for people to continue to steal and destroy businesses and be in the favor of criminals instead of being in the favor of people that are doing things and abiding by the rule of law and paying their taxes, right? So they lowered y'all property taxes, or they lowered y'all property values. They ruined y'all communities. They let homelessness run rampant in California. They signed in the bill, Proposition 47, that basically was like a catch and release program for criminals. And so taxpayers eventually came to the conclusion, they said, listen, this ain't working. They finessed us. We're going to introduce new legislation in the form of Proposition 36. Now, we've been covering this on the Millionaire Morning Show for a long time now. Proposition 36 was basically to roll back a lot of what they did in Proposition 47 that basically started to punish criminals for doing criminal things such as stealing and shoplifting. And none can better be exhibited than what you're about to see here right now.
A new viral video showing an accused shoplifter shocked to learn that she may face a felony charge for theft. The Southern California Police Department is now reminding folks about the new Prop 36 law that cracks down on low-level theft. Matt Finn, live in Los Angeles to explain all of this. Memo to shoplifters, you can now be prosecuted.
That's right, John. And you know, here in California, we've reported on countless cases of brazen theft, shoplifting with no significant consequences. But last month, California...
Hey, before we get into the show, we know that there's agents of chaos, and I usually just let people rock. Moderators, I'm going to...
Like this video from Seal Beach in Orange County. 3 women walk into an Ulta Beauty store and then a Kohl's, casually stealing whatever they want, not even trying to conceal some of their stolen goods. Even after leaving the stores, the women, they're in no rush, but are surprised when Seal Beach police run up on them, and after a short chase, they arrest the thieves. Take a listen here as a police camera captures 2 of these young women talking about...
Oh, we love capturing Clios. Y'all know what a Clio is? Y'all know what a Clio is? A Clio is this. Let me show you.
The thieves. Take a listen here as a police...
See them braids? Now, this just so happened to be women. Oh, I don't know what it is. It's something about a good Clio that get me up in the morning. When I see a woman that got...
Camera captures 2 of these young women talking about their shock that they were arrested for a felony.
It's a felony? New laws. Stealing is a felony. And this is Orange County. They don't play.
The 3 women were booked into an Orange County jail.
Yeah, they fit whatever it is that they're doing. I think that is room. Look, see the one on the left? See one in the middle? Yep, Wranglers. A lot of times they have on New Balance 407s. No matter what age they are, they always got on good support. Now they got Hokas on, but most of the time they got the New Balance 407s. Shout out to the loss prevention officers. You guys are the unheralded heroes that often at times get fired if you are too aggressive in trying to do the thing that protects American citizens and our taxpayers and our businesses from getting thrifted from. Let's continue.
On charges of grand theft, conspiracy to commit a crime, and resisting arrest. Now, yesterday in Bakersfield, California, Dustin Towery pleaded not guilty to stealing 2 scooters from a Target store. Before Prop 36, Towery could only be charged with a misdemeanor, but now the DA can and did charge this man with a felony, in part because he had...
Look at that. There you go. Look at all of those guys. Look at all of those guys. They all fit the description. None of them went to Turkey. You know what they got in Turkey, right? Turkey is the I need to get me some hair capital of the world for men. They might as well just say Turkey is hair club for men. I'm not only the president, I'm not only a user, I'm the president of the company. None of these guys went to Turkey. None of them. You see all of those bald spots, all of that stress that's getting on them, possibly future meth heads. These are the guys that's going to be buying all of the meth in the community later. 100%, especially if you got a good head of hair. These are the future meth heads of America. But now they got to sit down for a while, and hopefully they get that life-changing event before they hit the street again, because he tried to steal 2 scooters, not 1 but 2. And usually with Prop 47, they used to just get a ticket and they just get released with a promise to appear. How you gonna make a criminal promise to appear in court to ultimately get in trouble? Now they giving them felonies, especially if you got a record already. We arrested you before. Okay, come on over here, John. Hey, Mike. Yeah, I remember you. You used to be captain of the football team. You took one hit of that meth, ruined your life. Now you over here stealing scooters. Have you ever seen the captain of the football team start selling scooters? That happened to somebody that was in my class. He wasn't a meth head, but he wound up going to jail. Like, he was supposed to be this great prospect, got caught up with some hoes, all of that stuff. I'm not going to say no names. So shout out to you. Yeah, man. Captain of football. It's a hard fall. See, when you don't have no expectations, when they didn't say most likely to succeed in school, you ain't got nowhere to go but up. But when people can go back and look in the yearbook and they say, see, that's why y'all got to teach y'all kids. Don't worry about it. This is the Millionaire Derailment Show. That's why y'all got to teach y'all kids to move in silence. We keep teaching our kids to be the most popular in school. But then, when she turned out to be a baby mama, we talk about them. Oh, man, remember her? She used to have a bad body. Now she 280. 4 baby daddies, 280. You brought attention to yourself. Nobody pays attention to the girl that was a late bloomer. Nobody was checking for her. Now she bad. She done filled out. She looking good. She taking care of business. She might become a senator one day. But it's that one chick that everybody wanted. All of them chicks that the one that said that she ain't talked to guys her age, and she only talked to guys that got cars, that's older, that was molesting her at the time. Yeah, that's the one that's gonna have 4 baby daddies. And definitely gonna hit that 280 mark before she go on TikTok and she go on her weight loss journey. But let's look at this from a different angle. I'm sorry. This is I know that the daycares may not be open because y'all home from work today. Let's look at this from a different angle. This is the same women that was stealing.
California's new law that went into effect last week, Proposition 36, is now adding harsher penalties fitting for the crimes as California voters decided to be tougher on drug crimes, burglary, robbery. Seal Beach police releasing a video in time for Christmas showing brazen robberies from stores, and then those thieves or would-be thieves getting caught. News Nation's Nancy Liu is live in Los Angeles with details. Nancy, I was there for the celebration. There are a lot of business owners who've been hurt by the less strict laws in California. This is the image of the sheriff, Sacramento
Somebody
County.
saying, Anton, when you going to Turkey? I'm rich. I don't have to go to Turkey if I want some hair. Boy, I ain't trying to get no discount. Y'all the only ones that keep going to Turkey to get your teeth. I stay right here in the good old US of A, where they are licensed. You keep on trying to fly back over to Turkey because they cut your head in half. Oh man, boy, if I want some hair, I will be right here getting my hair treatment here in the United States of America with the best doctors and the best nurses and the best care. Y'all the only one who y'all girls are the ones that fly out of town or fly to Miami and don't have money for the extra treatment, keep bleeding all over the house. They keep banning y'all from going into Airbnbs in Miami because y'all keep bleeding everywhere and y'all can't get the proper care. Boy, I'm not like you. I'm not like you. I'm going to be right here in the good old US of A. I ain't going to Turkey. I'm going to be here. I'm rich. I'm different. I don't need discounts. I'm not going to be on the plane looking dumb. You sitting there with your head half cut off. She sitting there on her knees on a Spirit flight. I'm different. I don't have to do, boy. I'm just going to pop up with some hair if I want some hair. I'm going to pop up with hair if I want some hair. And it's going to be the good hair. I'm not even taking my follicles from the back of my head. I'm taking my follicles from a good Asian. I'm going to take my follicles from a good Asian. My follicles is going to be different than you. They breed people for people like me. Do you understand that? We buy humans. We take we take people that were blessed and we take all. Have y'all ever seen that movie? It was with Forrest Whitaker and it was like repo. Boy, we not the same. We not the same. You know the difference between you and me? No, I'm not gonna get into it. Let's focus on Steph right now, all right? This is gonna be a fun show today. The rest of this year is gonna be a fun show, and then we're gonna get back to doing things a little bit more in uniform. But right now, we going fun today.
Sheriff Jim Cooper alongside Sacramento County CA Thin Ho and business owners, residents, people were just fed up with the fact that criminals could just steal and get away with it. So not anymore, right, Nancy?
Not at all, Adrian. And Californians just desperate for change. And this is the justice Californians overwhelmingly voted for back in November. As you mentioned, it went into effect last week. So just in time for Christmas, police in Orange County delivering a video gift of Prop 36 in action.